Ingestion is the entrance of materials from the mouth into the digestive tract. Mechanical processing is the breaking down of materials physically by chewing or churning. Mastication is the act of chewing, the process in which food is crushed and ground by the teeth. Digestion is the chemical breakdown of food into fragments small enough for absorption. Secretion is the release of water, enzymes, acids, buffers, and salts into the digestive tract via digestive tract epithelium or glandular organs. Absorption is the passage of organic substrates, vitamins, electrolytes, and water into the interstitial fluid of the digestive tract across digestive epithelia. Excretion is the elimination of wastes from the body fluids. Here we have the tongue, and again over here. The gums are also called the gingivae. Here we have the teeth. Here we have the hard palate, the soft palate, the uvula, the parotid salivary gland, the parotid ducts, the palatine glands, the palatine tonsil, the submandibular salivary glands, the sublingual salivary glands, and the submandibular duct. Here we have a model of the tooth. The crown of the tooth is the region protruding from the gingivae. The neck of the tooth is the region surrounded by the gingival epithelium. And the root of the tooth is the region below the surface of the gingivae. Opening up the tooth, we can see the apical foramen where vessels and nerves come through, and they pass through the root canal up into the pulp cavity. The hard part on the surface of the tooth is the enamel, and in between the pulp cavity and the enamel we have dentin. Here's a picture of the tooth with the enamel, dentin, pulp cavity, root canal, apical foramen. On this model we can also see the cementum and the periodontal ligaments which hold the tooth in place. At the front of the mouth we have 8 incisors. Besides those, we have 4 canines or cuspids. Besides those, we have 8 premolars or bicuspids. And in the back, we have 12 molars. On this model, we can see 3 regions of the pharynx: the nasopharynx, the oropharynx, and the laryngopharynx. We can also see the beginning of the esophagus behind the trachea. Here we have a model of the stomach, where we can see the bottom portion of the esophagus and the lower esophageal sphincter. Here we have the lesser curvature, the greater curvature. This region is the cardia. This region is the fundus. This region is the body. This region is the pylorus. And in that region, we have the pyloric sphincter, and these ridges in the stomach are the rugae of the stomach. The region of the small intestine after the stomach is called the duodenum. After the duodenum, we have a region called the jejunum, and the last region is the ileum. These folds in the small intestine are called the plicae circularis, or the valves of Kirkring. This is a model of the histology of the small intestine. Both the small intestine and the stomach have a mucosa. On the mucosa, we have a mucosal epithelium, these cells, a lamina propria, or this matrix, muscularis mucosae, this muscle layer, an intestinal crypt with goblet cells, a submucosa, this region, a muscularis externa, this region, with the circular muscle layer, the longitudinal muscle layer, and at the very bottom, a serosa. Here we can see a model of the histology of the stomach with the gastric pits up top, followed into the gastric glands. And then another difference that's not shown in the model between the small intestine and the stomach is the presence of the oblique muscle layer. On this model, we can see the longitudinal muscle layer, striations going up and down, the circular muscle layer, striations going across, and the oblique muscle layer, striations going diagonally. Specific to the small intestine histology, we have these structures, or intestinal villi. Then we have this off-white structure, the lacteal, and we have capillary networks. The transition from the small intestine to the large intestine, there's the ileocecal valve, and this pouch is the cecum, And then off the cecum we have the appendix. This region of the colon is the ascending colon, with the right colic flexure, transverse colon, left colic flexure, descending colon, sigmoid flexure, sigmoid colon. These bumps are haustra, and this band is the tene coli. After the sigmoid colon, we have the rectum, and in the anus, we have the internal anal sphincter and the external anal sphincter. Here we have a model of the liver with the inferior vena cava for reference. On this side we have the right lobe and the left lobe divided by the falciform ligament. The falciform ligament extends into the round ligament, which is the former left umbilical vein. Here we have the quadrate lobe and the caudate lobe. Again, inferior vena cava. Here we have the hepatic portal vein, the hepatic artery proper, the common bile duct. The common bile duct branches into the common hepatic duct, and the cystic duct. And the cystic duct leads into the gallbladder. On this picture we can see the peritoneum. The parietal peritoneum is the lining of the abdominal cavity. The visceral peritoneum is the lining of the organs themselves. The mesentery proper holds the small intestines together. The lesser omentum connects the liver to the stomach, and the greater omentum is the covering of the intestines in the anterior portion of the cavity. Here we have a model of the pancreas with the pancreatic duct and the accessory pancreatic duct superior. And where this duct drains into the duodenum is the duodenal papilla.